Welcome to the Texas Truck Channel. It is time for another hill test, and we've got something fun to take up here because, well, it kind of says it can make it, but it can't. It might struggle doing it. What is that, Brian? That is the all-new
2024 third gen Subaru Crosstrek, and this is not the Wilderness Edition, but it still has a lot of capability. And Subaru bros on Instagram will tell you, "Oh, my Subaru could do that." So we're going to find out. We've been hearing that for a long time. Let's start with approach angles. This thing's right at 18 degrees approach angle, which is not bad, but the Wilderness would have a little bit more. Breakover is 20, departure is 30. Departure is really good, so R mode might be a thing. We'll see. Also on top of that, it's 8.7 inches of ground clearance.
That's better than a lot of crossovers these days.
That's basically a two-wheel drive truck on average. That's pretty good.
That's what the new Land Cruiser has.
It's with wow, okay. That's actually kind of shame on Land Cruiser for that, but that's really darn good for something that is not marketed as a genuine off-roader, but you do have symmetrical all-wheel drive, and we have X mode features. We're gonna try those out and see what they do. Unfortunately, it's paired to a CVT transmission, but it's a really good one, so we're gonna see if it slips up the hill. Full transparency, I have had one of these at an event before, doing a hill climb similar to this, and the CVT just slipped on incline giving throttle. So I'm curious to see what happens here today. We'll find out. Now, coming down the side, you've got things that are super important, Craig, and that is cladding.
Yes.
It's the only way you can go off-road is if you have cladding. If this were painted, it simply wouldn't function. It's kind of like a non-red tow hook. It doesn't work. Wheel and tire. I'm really appreciative. These are not the best off-road tires, but they do have enough sidewall to do some work. If you needed to air down a little bit, you could. We don't do that in our testing, but you could if you were struggling to get to your campsite. It's not a 19, it's an 18. And you can get a smaller wheel if you want. You can go down to a 17 and get a cheaper wheel. If you're serious about off-roading, you're gonna change these anyway, so it doesn't matter. But look how big the wheel arch is. That means you have some travel in the suspension, and it rides a lot higher than the Impreza that this is based on. So you do have some flex that can happen here. And we know from driving this thing, the suspension is soft enough, it's gonna flex out and probably keep a tire on the ground like it should. That's where it's gonna really come into play. Now, coming out back, I wanna point out the departure angle we were talking about earlier. This is your 30 degrees of departure. That is a ton. It's a lot more than you would think. And then out back, I wanna look at something else. You've got good blocky corners that look really cool.
Not out back, Crosstrek.
Oh, excuse me, not out back. Out in the back of this Crosstrek, you've got a good look back here, but there's no recovery points underneath. There's no tow hooks, front or rear. So that's interesting to me, but look, that's not really what matters here. You do have a recovery port here. You can thread in the Euro style tow hook.
That'll work.
It'll work in a pinch. Moral of the story is you can get all the accessories on the internet, make this thing look as ridiculous as you want, but let's see if it can actually do anything.
All right, and as Brian's getting in there, we're gonna check out all the goodies we have to play with because we always like to step through those. We'll do normal first, and then we get some other modes. Brian, explain to us what those are.
Okay, so they're really pretty simple. Let's come on in here. There is no high-low transfer case. There is no two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, or anything like that. It is simply put all-wheel drive at all times. But we have X modes up here. We're normal right now. Our other feature is snow and dirt, or we can go to deep snow and mud. You can do that. That's really it. And then beyond that, you can go into
Traction control
and turn that off. Go to the controls, it's all touchscreen, still waking up. There we go. So we can change our X modes, or we can do our vehicle hold. We'll leave that off. There's also, oh, we're in the wrong mode. Here we go. If you're in normal, you can turn off traction control to get more wheel speed if you need to. So I think, Craig, going up, I think we should go up with it in normal mode. And you know, I like to do it this way. I like to turn traction aids off completely and see what it does just with its basic mechanics to test mechanical grip. What do you think?
Agreed. And I think what we'll have to do first we'll just see if we can get to the obstacle in normal mode. And then when we get to the obstacle, we got to see if we can actually leave that 18-degree approach angle. That might be a problem. So the modes may not matter, but let's see if it even gets there first. Being
all-wheel drive, it should be able to get up to it. Cresting, it's a problem, but the modes, if we have to do a hybrid line, that's where the modes are going to get interesting, is in wheel control. So,
so we're going to give the first line an attack first. We'll try the main line, and in normal mode, again, see if we can just get there. Just getting there is a challenge for some vehicles, so let's just see if we can do that. We'll usually start slipping about right here in most cars, but with all-wheel drive, that should be less of a problem. And already you can see the all-wheel drive really helping out, coming into play. Still in normal mode, getting closer to the obstacle, and that's a low chin spoiler. It might be an issue. Okay, we're gonna get a good look at this. It's really close. A little bit farther, but not much. Okay, stop. Okay, and we're just gonna have to stop here because you can see we're actually touching right there, and we don't, if we go further, it's just gonna hit and just push that in, and we don't wanna mess that up. So, all right, hang on just a second.
Don't fall.
Don't fall here. So Brian, we made it to the obstacle. That part's good. Bad news is that chin is just too low.
Is it?
It's
Okay,
not gonna work.
so we're on it. There's no alternative angle we could really do. We have to do hybrid line.
Have to do hybrid line.
Okay, that's fine.
But good news is normal mode got us all the way to it, no slippage.
No slip at all.
And you're able to modulate the throttle pretty smooth.
When we got really close, I left foot brake just to make sure I didn't hit anything. But it was actually very linear rolling up, very intuitive. I wonder if the wilderness would have made it. Is it so close that if it was like maybe half an inch taller, it would make it?
Half an inch would help a ton.
Okay, we're that close. We're talking about the car, right?
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
So what we'll do now is, instead of doing just this main line, we're going to come up with kind of a hybrid approach, help the wheel up and over so that maybe that chin doesn't hit. So let's see what that does. So we got the wheels off now. So that wheel's spinning, that back wheel's spinning. So you can see right there we're crossed up. So that front wheel spinning, that rear wheel spinning, because nothing's locked really.
I think it's time we turn traction on and see if that makes any difference at all. It was actually off. It was not trying to get in my way at all. It was flashing, telling me there was wheel slip, but it wasn't applying brake to either corner. So now I want to see if it'll apply brake to try and shove power to the tire that has more traction. And
that's good because that's always debate in our comments whether or not traction control helps or hurts.
Right.
But
Right. In this case, let's find out.
Let's find out. So traction control there should hopefully break those slipping wheels that are spinning. Let's see if it does it. And we're immediately running into the same problem. Get that wheel in the air and it's just slipping, and the front wheel's just spinning a little worse. Dugout right there.
I'm trying to reset in the line because I think I was in the same hole as I was before, so let's give it a chance. Whether it's a slightly different line, move the wheels a little bit.
Okay. And you can see that that wheel's spinning, that wheel's spinning. We don't have the flex, and we just don't have the lock.
Okay, so traction control was pulling throttle a little bit, but it was doing minimal brake application on the wheels that were spinning, so it didn't make much of a difference. So oil temps are at 208, water temps are good. I'm gonna go back over to, let's see here, to X mode. I'm thinking snow and dirt, because we're on dirt for sure. Let's see what we got.
That seems a little less aggressive. The next one should be even more aggressive. So
yeah, we'll start there.
As far as slippage goes.
Now, exactly. If this doesn't work, we can try some momentum if we have enough nose clearance, but I want to explain to our viewers real quick because we get comments on this all the time.
We don't want momentum things, yeah.
The whole point of this is to test how good are the systems, are they capable? So we keep it between 1 and 3 miles an hour as the target speed. Now it might run over or under a little bit. That's why we go this slow, to see how good the system's competencies are. We know we can momentum up anything. If you want to rip the nose off, anything will make it up here. Once. So right. We're gonna go slow and try that. If none of these systems work, we'll try with more momentum on the hybrid line.
Sounds good. All right, so here we go. We'll try the a little bit more aggressive X mode. See if that controls some of that slippage a little bit better. And I'll stay down here so you can actually see the wheels and whether or not they slip. So reapproach it so we get a fresh reset. And take the angle. We get the wheels up now, and you can see it's braking a little bit more. That was a little better, and it's helping some.
Come on, X mode.
Get that front wheel up, but it's braking the other wheel to keep it from slipping. And this is where the CVT is going to be a problem. So you can see that back wheel is not touching it and the front wheel's not. There he goes. So, Brian, very impressive, very impressive.
Oh my God.
Never seen a system in action work that well. That was really good.
Oh, man.
What you could see immediately once you got the wheels up in the air, it was off camber.
It was locking tires.
It wasn't locking them, but it was breaking that slipping wheel and sending power the other way.
Right, it wasn't locking.
That was quite impressive.
I gotta say, from the driver's seat, my feedback is I had the foot to the floor on that. For more than half the time. I let it do its thing, and initially, you could tell immediately, the line was slightly different just to get the tire out of that hole, so I kind of skipped that first hole. But momentum wasn't applied to make that happen. It just competency when came up, and it got halfway up. And I was listening, I didn't hear anything rubbing. I thought, okay, let's keep going. Yep. And it just hung up there for a minute, and I could feel the tires were just completely in the air, at least in this corner. And for a minute, I had to just saw back and forth with full throttle, and it finally just kind of kept bumping itself and bumping. And what I noticed is it would bump up and hold itself. It wouldn't roll back. So somehow the X-Mode was good at keeping the tires that were planted from rolling backwards, and it just figured it out.
And we were worried about, I mentioned on camera there that we're worried about this, where the CVT is going to get tested. No warning lights or?
No warning lights. You've got a lane departure off and a gas light because we're just low on fuel. But let's go back to oil temperature. It jumped 4 degrees.
2.8 is very normal.
Which is still in completely normal operating range. No belt slippage problem at all.
Wow.
One of my feedback is on this. We had it at max incline for our hill and max drag at no speed. It didn't slip at all. No slip at all.
That's impressive with street tires, Brian. No extra lift. No low range.
Not the Wild Peak.
Wow.
Or the Wilderness.
Yeah.
Not the better tires that you get on that.
Yeah.
It's X-Mode's no joke. It's a real control system.
That's impressive. We've always kind of made fun of X-Mode, but we shouldn't have made fun of X-Mode. Thanks for watching us get this up the hill. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll try other things up this hill test that probably shouldn't be up here, but this one should be up here.
Good job, Subaru. Full pass.
Thanks for watching. If you want to watch more of these, please be sure to like and subscribe. I know we say that every video, but that's really how it works. So do that. We'll make more. Thanks.
That was good, dude.